Hi guys, thank you for joining me. My name is Sumaya Suleiman. I am here in KICC with my guest, the Member of Parliament of Kamkunji, Yussuf Hassan. Today we would like to know more about him. Kindly, Mheshimiwa, introduce yourself to our audience.
Thank you, Sumaya. My name is Yussuf Hassan. I am the Member of Parliament for Kamkunji in Nairobi.
Thank you for having us, and I'll just dive right into it. So I am a member of your constituency, Kamkunji, and I know you as a man of integrity, a very friendly person, a humble person as far as I have been seeing you. So how would you describe yourself?
Well, it's very difficult to describe oneself. I think it is much better for people to describe me. And I'm humbled by the description that you have given me. I think, yes, I'm a quiet person. I'm a person of few words. I consider myself to be an introvert. I'm not an extrovert. I keep to myself. Though that's a contradiction because I'm also a politician, and politics require engagement, going out and speaking to people. So an introvert is not necessarily a shy person, but I also been brought up in a very strict system as far as my character and behavior. My character was formed by the community and the family that I grew in, which was very disciplined, very orderly, and I've grown up to behave in a way that I look after my integrity. I look after what I do more carefully. I'm very concerned about how I deal with people from a young age, and to a certain extent, that kind of behavior comes to me very naturally. And of course, my parents were very strict in a way that I was able to be careful about whom I engage, what I do, how I behave, and that has become part of my life in some ways.
Okay, and most people don't know much about you, so were you born in Isili, raised in Isili, or where were you born in Kenya? Where were you raised? Which schools did you go to? If you could tell us a little bit about that.
That is true. I was born in Isli. In fact, I was born in Isli, and I grew up in between 4th and 8th Street in the neighborhood that's now known as Airbase. At that time, it just was Isli. Didn't have breakdowns. It was part of Section 1. And then I left to do my primary Quranic and primary studies in Garissa. And then after a while, I came back to Nairobi to finish part of my secondary. I went to the Aga Khan Primary School. And then my parents moved to Western Kenya, to Nyanza, to South Nyanza, a neighborhood called Kuria. Yes, and so I went to secondary school there called Taranganya Secondary School. And for a while we were out of the country as exiles in Tanzania. So in places like Tarime and Mwanza.
Why exiles?
We had a bit of a problem here in terms of our politics. There was a conflict in northern Kenya. Yes. And because my parents came from that particular background, although we were not living in northern Kenya, we were affected by that conflict in northern Kenya, and my parents fled to Tanzania.
Oh, okay. So you are a busy man. Your day job is not easy. Being a politician involves people always wanting to be around you when you're not there. When you're in the office, you're busy with projects and all this. And I'm sure when you're home, you also have priority to your family. So how do you unwind from all this? What do you do as a hobby in your free time? What can you say that when you're not working and when you're at home, what do you do for yourself?
Well, I'm particularly interested in reading. I'm a great reader. I love books. I have an inquisitive, curious mind. So I do read quite a lot. I have 2 or 3 books open in one chapter or another every day. So I'm reading something continuously, either very early in the morning or whenever I have a break or late in the evening. And my study is full of books that I have not had the chance to be able to engage. The other thing that I love is music. I am a great lover of Rumba music. I grew up. My first job was a DJ. I was a DJ at the Voice of Kenya.
Wow.
I used to have a teenager program focusing on teenager when I was 18 years old.
Wow.
Every Saturday and Sunday. Yes. So I still have an interest in Rumba, jazz, and classics. And even when I was injured and I was in hospital, I went through the difficulty of the day through listening to music, and of course reading. Reading is, it takes you to another world, it takes you to other people's minds and so on. And it broadens your horizons. And of course, even at my age now, I do need to exercise my mind much more vigorously than before. And there's nothing better than reading and resolving complex ideas.
You have mentioned that you worked at the VOK. Not many people knew or know that you were a journalist right before you went to the UN, and then later on decided to venture into politics. Can you say you miss your days as a journalist?
Oh, indeed. Indeed. I was a journalist. I started at the Voice of Kenya, and then I went to the BBC in London, and I rose through the ranks. I was a producer, executive producer, and a head of a department. And I traveled extensively in Africa. I covered conflicts in Africa. And then I moved on to launch a newspaper, a magazine called New Africa, Africa Events, which was published out of London. And then I left to go and work at the Voice of America in Washington, D.C. And then again I traveled quite a lot. And eventually I became the director of the Namibian National Radio and Television in Windhoek when they became independent. So I've had one of the best times in my life during my days as a journalist. First of all, young age, excitement, energy, and also engaging with other cultures, moving from a city like Nairobi to see other perspectives in the world, living in London, one of the great cities of the world, traveling to conflict areas and looking at what those communities, how did those communities plunge into conflict and how they're resolving their problems. And also going to places that have done very well and wondering how did they make it and so on. So wonderful, wonderful experience.
Yeah, I can say now you're my idol when it comes to journalism. Yeah. I want to rise to those ranks. So what made
and
you
can.
decide? Yes, inshallah.
No,